Okay. Hi, my name is Hannah Kisilevich, and the title of my design is Fusion, Strength, and Seduction. My biggest inspiration for this design was sports that I've previously done in the past or athletic activities that I do now, such as gymnastics, dance, and now it's yoga. I also did a lot of market research, and I was inspired by Art Deco and the Empire State Building, especially after I saw the lace. Um, my color palette is mainly black because I believe that black is a big part of my personal brand, and I also, doing market research, I saw that it's a big seller in intimate apparel and in sportswear. And I also chose to add a gray piping detail to have that contrast, but I also wanted to emulate that reflective fabric that's seen in a lot of sportswear and athletic wear. So it does look a little, it emulates that reflective fabric without it actually being reflective, keeping that kind of modern intimate apparel look that I was trying to achieve. For the color, unfortunately, I wasn't able to use any of the black fabrics that were given to me in the box, so I did have to experiment and do dye trials with all the different fabrics that I received in order to get all the fabrics to be one cohesive black shade. So I did a very, very large amount of RIT dye with a small amount of water, and I tested it for all the different fabrics, especially the mesh. So from the box, the biggest thing that I used was the lace. So when I got it, I knew that I wanted to use Art Deco as my inspiration. And when I saw like kind of that organic flow pattern, I started draping it in different directions and moving it to different sections of the galloon to get that flow, that organic shape that I wanted for the Art Deco and the Empire State Building inspiration. So in the two front panels, you can see it does kind of have that, like the top of the Empire State Building. I was looking at pictures as I was draping, and the cups as well does continue into the cups, and the back was a little trickier because the back does have a bigger panel, but I was able to make it work. I also used the mesh. I used it in a way where you can see it in all directions of the garments because when I did my market research, I saw that mesh was a big, big part in both sportswear, sorry, in athletic wear and also intimate apparel. And I really wanted to highlight that mesh, that use of mesh, because it was such, it's supportive, but it's sheer, and I think it gives confidence to the look, and it ties it all in together. So I used it on the waistband, I used it on the top cup neckline portion, and I used it on the side panels as well, and a little bit on the back panels in the leg opening so that you're able to see it from all directions and draw that inspiration with the intimate apparel and the sportswear. And then I used the floral stretch fabric. And at first I was afraid to dye it black, but I really wanted to commit because I love that fabric and I feel like I've seen leggings in it and you can do bralettes in it. And I thought this is something that needs to be used. It's perfect for the theme. And I used it. And after dyeing it and different trials, I did see that the pattern stayed, which I was really happy about. You can still see it. And I used the opaque, that specific fabric because it is opaque and it gives that coverage in the center front panel and the center back panel so that if you are wearing it, let's say to yoga class with a legging, you still have that coverage and you have that modesty so that you are able to wear it in public and it's not like just intimate apparel or just sportswear. And then I used the fold over elastic to outline the entire garment in the waistband of my skirt because I wanted to highlight the outline of it. I wanted it to be bold and I wanted it to be more modern so that because it kind of draws the attention to all the gray vertical lines that are seen within the garment, so inside of the outline. And I think it has just like a really clean finish that I wanted to go for. For the construction, I used a piping foot because I didn't want to compromise and I really wanted to stick with the piping. It's such a big thing for me and I love to explore different I love to explore different trims, and when I saw the stretch piping, I thought this would be perfect for this theme. So I learned how to use the piping foot so that all the seam allowance could stay the same and the fit of the garment was not compromised. And then in the back of the skirt waistband, I used an invisible zipper, and um, I made a welt pocket because I saw that a lot of the welt pockets did include invisible zippers, especially in my yoga pants. It was very interesting, but I didn't want to make the waistband opaque. I wanted to keep it sheer, so that was like a big construction thing that I had to deal with, and I was thinking of binding it and um, just to keep it that modern, give it that modern look, that sportswear look. And then the cups of my garment, the lace, the lower cups of my garment kind of emulate that corset um, or bustier look. And then all the vertical lines with the piping in it, the seams, also have that inspiration from intimate apparel. And then when I added that mesh top cup, I added it not only for support for like if you're doing an athletic activity, it has a lot of support with that mesh, but it also ties the whole look together and it keeps that outlined modern look. And I do have two sets of adjustable straps in the back, adjustable for comfort and for sizing, but also um, they are they pan out in the center back into that floral mesh panel to keep that line look in the back. I didn't just want two parallel lines, so they're not parallel. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Hannah, and I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, which is where I learned how to sew. I've been learning how to sew, design, and draw since the age of 10, and I fell in love with fashion at a very, very young age, especially because of my grandma and my great grandma. But I fell in love with intimate apparel when I went to buy my first bra, and I couldn't find anything that fits. And my mom encouraged me to do a lot of research on the intimate apparel industry, and she was very supportive. And when I found a local shop that sold my size for my unique size, I just fell in love because I realized how important fit was, and I realized how confident someone can be when they're wearing the correct size and the correct fit, especially for bras and bustiers and everything that has to do with support, even underwear nowadays. Um, so after I found like my favorite bra, I decided to start taking like bra sewing lessons. It was like at that fashion school that I was going to, and I made my first bra at 14. It wasn't a great bra because I was 14, but it was so fun to learn. Just that was like the beginning of my process of getting into the intimate apparel industry, and then a few years after that, I actually started working at that very intimate apparel store where I learned how to fit and size different body types and different ages and women. And it was like the best retail job anyone could ever wish for, like starting out as an intimate apparel designer. And after I quit, I got into FIT, and it was like, I'm going into intimate apparel. But I had to wait 2 years because the specialization started in the bachelor's program. So it was very exciting when I did finally get into the intimate apparel program. And now I intern at Delta Galil, and I'm very lucky to be interning there. I get to sit in on a lot of fit model fittings, and it's just like such a great learning opportunity going from retail to the actual industry, and it's just made me fall in love more and more with intimate apparel. I'm so grateful to be able to be in this position, and hopefully I do continue working in the industry, maybe even licensing, because I've really gone into that and I learn more about the company as a whole. But overall, I want to start my own inclusive brand so that other girls at the age of 14 don't have to go through what I went through. um, and I already started kind of making sizes last semester. I made a small swimwear line with a fuller cup size. So that was very interesting to learn. And hopefully one day I, I'll be able to sell to girls that need bras.